It's another wonderful opportunity to have one of our guests in our studio, Governor Nyon'go, who is not really a visitor in our show today. We are privileged actually to have him again as our guest. So wait and listen what he's actually going to tell the world, especially concerning the AFRICITIES Summit, which is going to be hosted as from 17th of this month till 22nd of this month. Thank you very much. Let me welcome Governor Professor Peter Anyang' Nyon'go to the show. Governor Nyon'go, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much, Bernard. As you have said, we are holding the 9th edition of AFRICITIES here in Kisumu, beginning on Tuesday this week, the 17th of May, 2022, and lasting until Saturday, the 22nd of May. As you know, we have been working very hard to get prepared here. Today, we had the Cabinet Secretary in charge of infrastructure and housing, James Macharia, and his PS, Charles Singer. We had here the Cabinet Secretary for Devolution, my dear friend Eugene Wamalwa, and his PS, Julius Korir, and other senior government officials who are definitely, including the President's office, with us here, making sure that the AFRICITIES Summit begin promptly and well. As you know, this is a joint effort between the national government of Kenya, the county government of Kisumu, and the United Cities and local government based in Rabat, Morocco, whose Secretary General is Mr. Jean-Pierre Elom-Bassi. Jean-Pierre and his team are also here, and we are ready to begin on Tuesday morning, the first session being patronized by the President, His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta, and we'll have several former presidents and presidents taking part in a panel that morning on financing infrastructure and urbanization in Africa, a very important topic regarding UN Vision 2030 and the AU Agenda 2068. As you know, both the UN Vision 2030 on Special Development Goals, SDGs, and the EU Agenda 2068 are both about how urban centers will be managed and the condition of human habitation in urban centers, since over 50% of the world will be living in urban centers in 2050. Africa is the fastest urbanizing continent on earth today. More than 50% of Africans by 2050 will be living in urban centers. And Kenya happens to be also one of those countries in Africa which is very fastly urbanizing. For two reasons. One, the improvement of infrastructure. Two, economic development. And three, industrialization. And the place played by industrialization and manufacturing in the economy of Kenya and other modernizing African countries. Therefore, we must take urbanization very seriously, especially of intermediate cities like Kisumu. Those are cities which at the moment may have less than 1 million people. Sorry. But by 2068 may have very large populations. Therefore, this focus of this AFRICITIES Summit is on intermediate cities like Kisumu, given the fact that by the year 2050, the metropolises of Africa.
Thank you very much, Governor. Briefly, I want my controller, my producer actually, to play just a snippet of what the Secretary General for the AFRICITIES said today. While you grab a cup of, a cup of water, they can give you a bottle of water. Then we actually want to have some conversation based on what he actually said today at the Mamboleo Jomo Kenyatta Stadium, where the AFRICITIES is going to be held. So,
last minute, you could be determined much earlier, and I think it's better that way. But anyway, we have a wonderful campus for the AFRICITIES. And what I realize also is the patriotism that people have shown, working tireless without complaining. And this shows that these people like their cities. And what you should know is that across the world, Kisumu is on the map. From South Korea to Europe, from America to Latin America, everybody has Kisumu on the spotlight. We need to deserve this because it's for the first time we are organizing an AFRICITIES summit into a secondary city.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You've heard what Secretary General Jean-Pierre Bamba has actually said there. And we are also surprised to see how the city is very magnificent and beautiful. How have you managed to ensure this is possible with the shortest time you've actually been given? Even the Secretary General also said that he came a few days ago, things were not actually all that great, but right now it's really ready for the summit. Go ahead, Professor.
Well, we started planning for this as soon as Kisumu was chosen at the 8th edition of AFRICITIES Summit in Morocco. We started planning for that. That's about 2018. And knowing exactly what it takes to hold at the summit of AFRICITIES, that plan involved getting a place like the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium, which has what we call enough space and enough appropriate geographical features and access not just to the city but to the surrounding counties in the lake region, but also Kisumu has very good access to Nairobi as the capital city. So we chose the venue very carefully. We already had drawn plans on how it would look like, and we were building actually a convention center, a building, a nicely planned convention center. Unfortunately, we could not finish it in time because of COVID intervention, and that meant that some of the resources were diverted to mitigate COVID, and we couldn't finish it in time. So we decided to do a kind of tented summit using tents, which was not easy because the summit activities are pretty many. One of them is exhibition, which takes quite a lot of space and resources. And then the other one was the plenary hall, which is pretty big and so on, and other facilities. So fortunately, the Jomo Kenyatta International Stadium has a core facility which has enough VIP rooms and ablution blocks and so on, which could be used by the VIPs and other guests. So it was integrated planning. One, more or less a camping convention center. The other one integrated the stadium facilities. So once that was figured out, doing it was just a question of hard work. We had very little time, but we had good coordination, good cooperation among the partners, the county government, the national government, and the UCLGA, and this has meant that we have pulled off the putting into place of the convention center within a very short time, but very effectively and very efficiently.
Thank you very much, Professor. Because of time, we might not actually. I know you've had a very hectic day, and we are going to try our level best to ensure that we shorten the interview because we know you are tired. But security is very, 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 very. It's part of the integral essentials in this particular summit. And security is handled by the national government. But how have you coordinated with your local government to ensure that the guests will be safe, even when they are on the streets? By extension, when they are actually at the venue. So, how is the security? How are the guests going to be secure in this particular moment?
First and foremost, we started planning. The organizing committee for AFRICITIES Summit is a joint effort between the national government, ourselves, Here in Kisumu, we have what the Regional Commissioner's Office. The Regional Commissioner is an employee of the Office of the President. Under him, you have the County Commissioner, the Sub-County Commissioners, and also the police, and of course the intelligence. All these came together with us to plan AFRICITIES and to make sure various aspects of security that can have an input in the AFRICITIES were mobilized. For example, accommodation. People are going to be accommodated in the city and in other nearby hotels and Airbnbs outside the city and within the city. All these have to be registered very carefully and be given to security forces to make sure that our visitors are safe and their data is known to security, so that if something happens to somebody or somebody wants to report to security, security needs that can be done promptly. We have also a call center which we developed during COVID in the Department of Health. And this call center can be used when reporting emergencies. The security department itself in the regional commissioners also have ways of communicating with their personnel in the county and elsewhere. So we are not really worried about security that much because it has been very carefully planned, very carefully resourced, and articulated across departments, both of the county government and the national government, so that communication is seamless to that effect. So that one, I think, is something that has been put in place, and I'm not worried about it. Secondly, security is also a matter of infrastructure, and like electricity, like roads, okay, like communication, So ICT, Kisumu is now more or less a Wi-Fi free city, so that people can get information promptly, both in the convention center and elsewhere in the city. So we hope as we begin on Tuesday, we still have Monday tomorrow, to tune up anything that is not yet been tuned. But as we begin on Tuesday, I'm sure we'll be on top of things.
Thank you very much, Governor. Thank you for that answer. And now let's talk about health concerns. If a guest is sick during the event, how have you ensured that the health infrastructure is really ready to ensure that your guests will be taken care of in case any one of them actually feels sick? That is from even giving first aid to being admitted. And then do we have well-equipped facilities in Kisumu? And by extension, can you actually list one or two facilities you believe and trust that are going to take care of the guests?
First of all, we have a health center, a completely well-equipped health center at the convention center. This is equipped with ambulances. This is equipped with basic health facility, you could call it a moving hospital. In case you fall sick at the convention center, you will be rushed to that place. You'll be treated. If you need to be moved to any of the major hospitals in town, there are ambulances. They are enough to take you. We have medical personnel there. We have both our health officials, our nurses, our doctors, our physicians at that health facility. We also have personnel from the Aga Khan Hospital, which is a private hospital. So we'll have two facilities at our health center at the convention. One, the county-run facility, to the Aga Khan-run facility, both working in tandem, where we have the health facility at whole. Secondly, I told you there's also security. We have a whole police post next, not too far from the health facility. The two will work together in terms of emergency. We also have a fire department ready to intervene in the event of a fire. But we also have a signal center where when things happen, the signals will be sent to particular authorities that need to be signaled from the convention center. So we're very well equipped down there. Let me say that in Kisumu, we have very good health facilities, both private and public. The Jaramogi Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital is a referral facility in the whole region of the Lake Region Economic Bloc. It can get patients from all the 14 counties within the Lake Region. Secondly, it serves the county as a teaching and referral hospital And below it, we have county hospitals, county health centers, county dispensaries, and community health workers in every village. We trained enough to transmit information of any visitor in the neighborhood who may be sick. So, and all this is done through a very well-equipped call center at the district, at the old district hospital. So I'm not worried about health because our people have been drilled, facilities are there, and information is there in our website and also in the packet given to every visitor or every delegate who's coming to the summit.
Thank you. Our last question on preparation before we actually embark on other few questions before we call it a day. What about the hospitality industry? Are the hotels and the eateries in town ready to host these guests, and give a brief perspective on how they have actually given you credibility news that all this is actually going to be taken into account? Go ahead.
So far, guests have started to arrive. All hotels are full in Kisumu, by the way, and so some guests are booking in Vihiga. There are very good hotels in Vihiga. Some are going to Kakamega, very good hotels in Kakamega. Some are going to share equally good hotels. So far we have not had a crisis because anybody who wants to find where to stay, there is an information system that they can use in our website. So if you book in time, you'll be definitely be directed to where you can get a hotel. So there is also an organization of the hospitality industry in Kisumu, which handles matters of hospitality in the lake region. So they are very well organized, and we'll be working with them. And they do give us information. We do give them information as need be to help our guests who want to find accommodation. I will tell you that this is the first time I've seen such a demand for hotel space. We did have a devolution conference here in 2015, if I'm not wrong, but this surpasses what the devolution conference demanded. This is really huge because we are expecting anytime, anywhere between 6,000 and 8,000 guests in the city. It may be more than that, but we can be able to deal with that, especially because the air, bed, and breakfast is something that the Kisumu residents have responded very well, especially on the Riat Hill, where people have built very good facilities for this kind of thing.
Preparations. What about the media? How have you ensured that the media will be part and parcel of this summit so that they can be churning out information in a very professional way so that the world out there actually can be seeing what is happening in Kisumu?
The fact that KDR TV has been able to reach me today shows you that we are very accessible to the media.
Thank you.
And you are even reaching me after working hours, so we are very media friendly. We have two times a day when we address the media, in the morning, around 10, and in the afternoon, or in the at about 5. And anytime, we also got a big media center at the convention summit place. So there you can interview people, you can send your own material to wherever you want to send it. So this summit, this was organized knowing very well that the outside world want to know what's going on. So we are very media savvy, as it were. And the media we've been working with even when we're preparing for this conference or this summit. So be assured that as a media person, you have a place of privilege in terms of access to information at the 8th-9th Summit of AFRICITIES in Kisumu.
Thank you very much. Now let's talk about the manufacturers who are coming. You know, this is so big. I mean, we heard from the Secretary General himself that Kisumu is actually out there and everything is actually going to be huge. So are we expecting some manufacturers on board in this particular event so that they can also be showcased by your government or by the Kenyan government if they can definitely invest in Kisumu? Go ahead.
We are not just saying they've already arrived. We have an exhibition space which can take, more than 300 more exhibitions. I think it's very big, maybe even 100 or something. It's a very big exhibition center. I would say it can even take 1,000. I'm not quite sure, but I think so. We have a very huge exhibition center. And people have started using it already. Tell you that we had such a good response to that exhibition center that we, and for the local people, what we call the Kisumu city AFRICITIES village, where we have a big bazaar for local manufacturers, the retail trade and all that, local businesses. So that Kisumu AFRICITIES village at the Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Sports Complex is going to be kind of a fiesta, really, because apart from having exhibitions and people buying things, we're also going to have cultural exhibitions there. One thing also at the exhibition place at the summit is that people are also expected to exhibit ideas and plans for investments, not just commodities. No, we want to know people have some investment proposals, okay, investment plans, some videos they want to show that can excite intermediate cities on how to invest in various sectors of the economy. So it's a very diverse exhibition center, which is very ambitious to offer various dishes, as it were, various menus in the exhibition for the exhibitors as well as those who are coming to get ideas.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Governor Nyon'go. We have seen some numbers being thrown out there, and we really want now to get the information from the horse's mouth. Is it true that after the summit, 2 billion Kenya shillings actually will remain in the Kisumu economy, in the local economy? Is that true?
Well, I think that perhaps is an underestimation, really. If I just take the airline industry, bringing passengers here from Nairobi, an airline like Kenya Airways, the main carrier locally, Kenya Airways has more than tripled or quadrupled their flights to Kisumu. That shows you that the number of visitors coming, both local and foreign, is pretty big. If you take just booking hotels alone, and the food they're going to eat alone, if you take the transport that they're going to use alone, and the number of vehicles they are going to hire alone, if you take what they're going to consume at the convention center and that material for convention, that is a lot of money, you know. I even think that 2 billion is not a good estimation. I think we'll have to wait and see after the conference to get those who know how to calculate these things to tell us of the convention here. The people employed at the convention center, at the summit center, just who have been preparing the center for the summit, okay, just doing cabro works alone, okay, let alone the people who came to erect the tents and so on, the labor, the material. I mean, I looked at it, and it's a real boost to the economy. Okay, so to give a figure of 2 billion, I think is rather conservative.
Nyon'go, that is wonderful. If we are actually going to exceed 2 billion to the local economy, that is, I mean, it's going to be injected to the local economy. That is pretty good. Okay, now what about the common man? You know, the common man actually out there, when our media people are trying to ask them, our journalists were asking them, they are saying, no, we are not going to benefit. So how is the common man actually going to benefit? The local person, the Mama Mboga? I mean, not really Mama Mboga, because Mama Mboga will be selling their wares. But what about the border people? They are complaining that they have not, I mean, they are not going to get the gist of this money coming down there. Is it true?
I think the guy who is complaining is not in the border industry, really, because the border I see in town are very busy, you know, ferrying people from here and there. You know, first of all, the people are going to work, just local people going to work at the summit center alone. Take borders. I see borders coming and dropping them I mean, if the convention was not going on, if the summit was not there, border borders would not go there. Okay. Then there are the border borders who ferry certain goods for these people who are working there, being food and so on. Then in town, in fact, what we did was to enlist the service of border borders by giving them some identity, by making sure that they pass certain security tests, by making sure that they know how to communicate with government and passengers. So it was a long process of preparing the border industry in participate in this summit. So I really think it's kind of not very honest to say that the border is not going to. I mean, not everybody will benefit, in the same way. But I think that the very nature of organizing a summit where 6,000 to 8,000 people are going to be around creates a lot of motion. The people who are going to be keeping Airbnbs clean will be taken there by border. Okay, the people who will be hired extra hands in hotels will be taken there by border to and fro. You see what I mean? So I think that if there's any industry that is going to really benefit from the transport industry, borders, taxis, people hire their own cars for VIPs. If you hire, for example, a Prado, you'll be paid something like 25,000 shillings a day. I mean, that's not small money, man.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Then Kisumu is really geared up to ensure this is a big success. And from your own explanation, from your own, the way actually I look at you, you are really very tired ensuring that this thing is actually going to be a success. And your own words, we really take you seriously. Your words are like like a gospel to most of us out here. So what about the diaspora? I mean, are we left out? I heard that you have a spot for the diaspora. How is the diaspora also going to benefit from this particular summit?
From diaspora, Shemo Chudo, who coordinates the diaspora, has been working with us from the very beginning. We have been in touch with some people in the diaspora, in not just in the US, but there are diaspora elsewhere, in Australia, in the Europe, and so on. So, and since this thing was on the website, diaspora must also be active to know what's happening at home. It has been a website for more than a year. Okay. So if you really have somebody in the diaspora who is interested in what's happening in Kisumu, you should have been able to get that information and interact, not where to be spoon-fed. I mean, this world is now so communication savvy that you need to get information by going to where it is and then asking questions and being answered. I have gotten a lot of emails from my people up abroad seeking to know what's going on, and we have handled them well. So I think that the participation of diaspora, both virtually and actually, has been very active.
Because again, we are repeating again to our viewers that because you are tired, actually you've been running up and down. Today we are not actually going to speak about politics. So it was basically on, we were basically trying to ensure that the world knows that something really big is happening down there in Kisumu. So is there anything you would like to tell the world? And in that context, can you try to tell us what is really the core key areas this particular summit is going to address, especially to the people of Kisumu?
I think the key area really, which is going to be very important. For example, on the first day, on Tuesday, there will be no discussion among heads of state, including our president and the former Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga, who is the AU High Representative on Infrastructure, on financing infrastructure and urbanization in Africa. As you know, that's a very important topic, because if there's a growing urbanization, there must also be more efficient infrastructure to move people around from one city or one town to the other. Secondly, the East African community, where we are, Kisumu sits right at the center of members of the community, and it's a shipping center for maritime transport on the lake. We hope that as more members join the community, like DRC just joined, this should lay the groundwork for forming a confederation in the next 3 years. So we are holding this summit knowing full well that the position of Kisumu in the geophysical map of Eastern Africa and the political economy of a possible confederation in this part of the world is very important to us. So we must be at the forefront of discussing this possible confederation and how it will help the growth of these economies in the Eastern African region who are current members of the community. Okay, that's one. The other one is investments in urbanization. Now, when people talk about investment, they only think of dollars. Investments can come from any part of the world. I do believe that a country like Kenya should have much closer economic diplomacy with countries like India, Mexico, Brazil, South Korea, because these are more or less our peers in development, and we can learn much better lessons and have much more reciprocal economic cooperation with them, which will not just lead to investment in our development, but the share of technology and knowledge. Okay. So one of the things that this summit is going to do is to discuss those areas of collaboration and relationship, first in Africa, using subsidiary governments or devolved governments within national governments, because every African lives in one form of devolved government or the other, whether you call it a district, a province, a state, or a county. And that is where economic activities begin. If we can realize that in the final analysis, all development is local, just like saying all politics is local, then we must think of how to develop our local economies in every part of Africa to finally gel into a national economy. We must think of, for example, what is the gross domestic product of a county like Kisumu as compared to the gross domestic product of a nation like Kenya. Because by growing the gross domestic product in a county, you will then grow the gross national product at the national level. And that applies to every African country. So these are kind of discussions we're going to have in Kisumu so that it is kind of generalized in the rest of Africa. And then we know exactly what it is that can encourage complementarity of development among Kenyan counties to make the Kenyan economy grow very fast so that we'll be a major contributor to the economy of the East African community or the Confederation of East Africa.
Now, our closing shot or our closing question is that, Governor, you are the chief, you are the executive person, or you are the governor for Kisumu County. What investment opportunities do you tell our people out there? And in your closing shot, we've actually opened for you a minute or two to give your closing remark based on, gauging on what we have not actually discussed today. So as you are answering that question, please also make your closing statement. Thank you very much for your time, Governor.
Well, I think there are many investment opportunities here in Kisumu. There's investment opportunity in agriculture in particular, rice, sugarcane, cotton. These are the two major agricultural commodities we grow here. But it's also tremendous opportunity for investment in the small scale and medium enterprises, which are small manufacturing, trade, and food production, and light manufacturing. Those are, given present day technology, you have tremendous opportunities to invest in productive enterprises at that level. The other one is close to the lake, which is both fishing and maritime transport, and the leisure economy. Kisumu is growing up to be an economy of hospitality and tourism that requires infrastructure and human resource development and communication and ICT and all those. All this must be seen together to see how we use our comparative advantage in East Africa as well as our comparative advantage in the Lake Region Economic Bloc and Kenya to make sure that we attract investments, both local and external, in those areas of the economy that has the highest level of growth so that they can make an impact on expanding the productive base of our economy. That is very important. It's only when you expand your productive base that you can create employment, that you can get more food, that you can get more extra plus production that you can export, not just in Kenya, but elsewhere. So investing in the productive base of the economy is an extremely important issue that we are going to discuss in this summit. And that is relevant not just to Kenya, but other counties as well. So I invite those who are coming to Kenya to share their experiences with us. We shall also share ours and learn from each other and make sure that as we try to very hard to speed up development in Africa and catch up with those who have left us behind, even in the third world, like India or Mexico or Brazil, that we don't make the mistakes that we should not be making, because knowledge already exists elsewhere, which we can use to grow much faster than we have been doing.
Nyon'go, till next time.
Bernard.
Till next time, may God bless you as you ensure that AFRICITIES Summit is hosted in Kisumu, and it's a big success. Thank you. Till next time. God bless you.